Episode 5 of Silo Season 2, with the most befitting name, Descent, has got the show's plot darting off into Frenzy Zone, with Bernard's intended upper-level pack hunt turning into a skydiving survival stunt that actually worked, Juliet facing the brunt of her new bunker mate's demons lashing out, as well as Lucas' return. We've got plenty of clues leading to the upcoming episode. We'll be discussing them in this video as we get the detailed prediction for Episode 6. So let's get into it. Real quick before we go on, if you like our content, please support us by subscribing. It's a small click for you, but it means a lot to us. Thank you. Episode 6 predictions. First off, let me just say it was nice to get some validations for our previous predictions, many of which have worked their way into the show at this point. And Episode 5 also came with some surprises, such as Camille Sims giving Knox and Shirley temporary relief to spoil Bernard's mob show. I mean, it was a great episode, tightly paced and full of twists and turns, leading up to an awesome climactic descent by Knox and Shirley. Now let us crack into what we can expect in the upcoming episode. Cole Myers is Solo's father. As Juliet helps Solo shed decades worth of psychological trauma, she's also discovering clues about his past. Solo's past is one of the most intriguing parts of the show right now. I mean, with all that action up in Silo 18, I still perk up when I see Solo and Juliet scenes. Solo's outburst after Juliet saw the picture of Cole Myers labeled Solo and Tiny, and asked Solo if he'd been lying to her, felt like it came from a place of hurt and anguish. It appears to be Solo's long-standing belief that he is indeed Cole Myers. If he was trying to deceive Jules, he would have tried to make up a story instead of the intense explosion of emotions he had back there. We've spoken about this in our past prediction videos as well. Solo's secrets are only just coming to the fore. Our theory on this is that Cole Myers was Solo's dad and the last IT shadow of Solo 17. When the rebellion broke out, he must have secured Solo inside the vault and given him the code for it. This explains how Solo, who would have been a kid at the time of the rebellion, got inside the vault. Whether Tiny is Solo's mother or not is another question mark, but I reckon we need more information on her aside from the fact that she had kept one of the helmets. But Cole Myers being Solo's dad, or uncle or something at least, makes a lot of sense. Now, Solo was isolated and alone in the vault with only one purpose: to keep it locked up and survive. With that kind of mental pressures, Solo has begun to take himself as the guardian of the vault. Without the comforts of normalcy, care and guidance, or even fresh air, the kid that he was, in the self-imposed incarceration, could have stuck to the memory of his beloved father by slowly taking on his identity, a cast of which solidified over time. This may well be the way the Solo we know today was molded, though the show has built in a tense little rift between Juliet and Solo, with him acting up on his insecurities and fears in Juliet's face. The two Silo 17 dwellers will come together soon enough, and Silo's backstory will factor in during their rebonding. The rebellion begins. Episode 5 already showed what a melting pot the lower levels of Silo 18 have become. Now, Mechanical trusts Knox, and they all saw what great difficulty Shirley and him made it back down with. The Deep Down will rally up behind them, and the masses will converge to form a force. As the rebellion descends upon the established order, we'll see barricades coming up. To start with, the Deep Down will put up a defensive front, but Knox, Shirley, and Walker will think out the strategy to take the fight to the upper echelon. But they'll need some outside help to really uncover the truth and fight for change. And we'll see Mr. Chambers from Episode 2 come in here, and Sheriff Billings will also play a part in this. Billings will work as an insider for the rebels. We all knew that Billings is the righteous cog of the Silo machinery that would turn on its structure at some point, and that point has been reached. We witness Billings abandon the pack towards the end of Episode 5 as he lied point blank to Bernard. Now that he's uncovered Sim's hand behind the firebombing in the Deep Down, he knows Silo's top hierarchy can sink to any level to maintain order. He was also shown to briefly bond with the late Judge Meadows, and her death and its blame on the Mechanicals is not sitting well with him. Billings is a hardworking cop who has had enough with all the lies. So going forward, he'll help the rebels with information, weapons, and whatever else they need, while posing to be a loyal servant of the pact in front of Bernard. Bernard is not through with Sims. We call him Judge Sims now, people. But the question is, why did Bernard make Robert the judge? Well, Sims' influence stretches far, and he's shown how resourceful he can be through the show. We had already predicted that Bernard will use and dispose of Sims, and making him judge, a position rather uneventful for a power player like Sims, has effectively cast him aside. I had no doubt that Bernard would totally eliminate Sims from the picture once he had placated him, and he's still on track for doing that. But I have to admit, I was taken aback by Sims' wife, Camille's actions in this episode. For all her pushy, power-hungry nature, I never did think she would withhold things from her husband and use them to fuel his fire. She hid and released Knox and Shirley to aggravate the Silo situation, to nudge Robert further toward the edge. Her goal is likely to have Robert strongly and actively challenge Bernard for power. That twist was a nice touch, with Mr. Graham Yost. While this adds another little challenge in Bernard's way, I do not think Sims will be the end of Bernard. Sims is on a collision course with him, of course, slung on by his wife, but if I had to pick which one of them will come out on top, I'll take Bernard. Camille's part in saving Knox and Shirley will not be forgotten, and to Bernard, the Sims are a team. So Robert, who's already in Bernard's bad books, will partake of some more of his wrath. Juliet will help fix the water rise in Silo 17. Yes, Juliet shrugged off Solo's request when he asked her to help him by lending some of her engineering expertise to Silo 17's water rising situation. But she will help him before she saunters off outside in that suit she's putting together. If and when Jules gets to Silo 18, which has already started to turn into a war zone, there won't be an easy way for her to return. So all the work Juliet has to do to make Silo 17 livable for Solo, as well as virtually connect with Silo 18, will happen before she leaves Silo 17. So don't you worry about our sweet puppy Solo, whose pent-up issues explode out of him from time to time, guys. He'll be just fine. Which brings us to the other thing, Juliet establishing contact with Silo 18. Lucas and Juliet may connect through Bernard's system. The show's been teasing us with Lucas' appearances, and given that he's a fan favorite from the books, don't worry, we're not dishing out any book spoilers here. But let's just say Silo fans were not happy with the lukewarm part Lucas played in Season 1. We'd predicted Lucas' return in our first predictions video, and our man has slowly but surely come through. The show will look to connect Lucas and Juliet again, after their budding friendship was rudely cut short. But this time that may be by way of Bernard's office. As Lucas works on retrieving the information on the broken disc, he discovers the mysterious lines coming into Silo 18 from the outside. Earlier in the episode, Solo mentioned an alternate power source that powers the IT department. The lines could be power lines coming into Silo 18 from a larger power grid, which is controlled by a primary silo. Bernard is hard to read, but he's shown signs of having connections with someone on the outside. With his red-lit key fob and all the information he has on the outside that no one else knows, I bet he knows what these lines were and where they connect to. Also, the way he looked at Lucas while asking him if he had worked out where that tunnel structure under the silo goes to. I mean, Bernard knows exactly what those tunnels are all about, and would have chopped Lucas in half right then and there had he said yes. Lucas has found Salvador Quinn's letter, which is what Bernard was actually looking for. Bernard knows there's some powerful stuff in there, which made Meadows quit her position all those years ago and leave him, a man she loved dearly. It also has a passage code, which clearly means Quinn was trying to hide something. Now, if Bernard has Lucas working there much longer, maybe decoding Quinn's letter for him, Lucas will have access to his system. So what if the disk he's working on gives him some information on the other silos, or how to get in touch with the outside? I'm predicting that this will be the way Juliet makes contact with Silo 18. Lucas will share the tunnel's information with her, which might lead her to find another way into Silo 18. Marvelous verdict. Season 2 of Silo is probably hitting its peak entertainment levels right now, and I'd love to see how far up the creators can take it from here. There are so many characters and stories in Silo that come together seamlessly to further the plot and carry out the larger theme of breaking out of control. It's amazing. Every episode leaves us with some questions, small and big, such as, will Dr. Nichols' transgression by actually removing a young woman's birth control piece come back to hurt him? Or will Juliet connect back with Silo 18 in time to stop the rebels from storming out as they did in Silo 17? That's the fun of it though, thinking about what could happen. After all, that's what this whole video's about. As for the Juliet collapsing cliffhanger, we all know our leading lady will be just fine. Solo just needs to get his ish together, nurse her, and feed her lots and lots of his chicken stew. That's all from us, guys. Please shoot all your theories down in the comment section below. I know you have some good ones up your sleeve there. If you liked this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Take care now. Ciao!